All right, so today we're gonna just clean a piece of salmon. We're gonna skin it and then we're gonna portion it. So I have my salmon here. One thing that's always nice to have is a pair of needle nose pliers. Make sure you get one without the teeth, so a smooth one. And then you wanna feel down to just make sure all the pin bones are out. So if you feel right along this line, that should give you an idea of if they're all out. In this case they are, which is great. So the next thing I want to do is I have my piece of salmon. I want to bring that as close to the edge of the cutting board as possible to take the skin off. And usually what I'll do is I'll grab a piece of paper towel using my chef knife, or if you want to use your fillet knife, that's fine. Cut down from just the beginning of that tail, and then you want to ride right along where that skin is. Once you get your knife in, you can grab that the skin with a piece of paper. And then what you're gonna see is I'm gonna be wiggling this skin against the knife. The knife is as flat on that cutting board as possible. And it's dragging, or it's pulling the fillet of fish across the knife itself. The knife's not moving, but the fish, the fillet is moving across the knife. And then once you get to that end, you can just do a quick follow through. What you're gonna see is once I lift this off, that skin, there's no meat left on that skin. So we have a real clean skin, which is what we want. So that can go away. And then portioning wise, I like to look at the portion, and I like to be able to separate out the top and the bottom loin. And so in this case, we're gonna look at this piece of fish. And if you look, there's a natural line where it splits down the middle, and we're gonna follow that line. So why I like to do this is because if you look at this piece of fish, this section of the fish, the thinner sections of the fish, are gonna cook much faster than the thicker sections of the fish. It's a little bit easier to remove the mud line because the mud line on this one goes down, and so now I'm just taking it, instead of having to do the V, I just do the one side. And when you actually go to portion this, the cooked product won't split on you nearly as much as it would if you did that V. So what we're gonna do at this point is just take our knife and we're gonna follow that mud line down. We wanna remove that because remember that right there tends to be really fishy, and we don't wanna give our guests that. So once I get that off, just take a little bit more off. Once that comes off, then you can flip this back over and portion straight across. So if you're looking for your 5-ounce piece, your 6-ounce piece, you'll be able to portion straight across. So that's that top loin. And then you have the bottom loin as well. Same deal here. We just want to remove that mud line, and you can kind of walk your knife across if it's a sharp knife. It should come right off. As far as portioning goes, if you have, something like this thinner belly piece, instead of giving them one gigantic piece to equal your 6 ounces, don't be afraid to cut it into, a section, and a 3-ounce piece and a 3-ounce piece, to give them 2 3-ounce pieces for their 6-ounce, portion size. What's nice about that is cook time wise, you're gonna be able to control your fish a lot easier. I always like to look and give them a nice piece of fish, and so I'll clean this up. And then that way, the scraps you can always, as long as it's not like the mud line or the blood line, you can always keep and do, salmon burgers with, or salmon mousse. But again, you're gonna come back and you're gonna look and you're gonna portion across. So, if I want my 6-ounce piece, you have a 3-ounce and a 3-ounce. And then I would give them, both pieces as one portion. Whereas up on top, your 6-ounce or your 5-ounce piece, you're probably looking something like this. So you have a really nice piece of salmon either way. Cook time, now you can control. This one's gonna, of course, cook longer than these nice thin pieces. But because you've separated them out, the pieces themselves look a little bit nicer, and you're able to control your cook time on both of them. So that's how I advise breaking down your salmon, making sure that you take as much of that mud line off as possible. You want to make sure that usually I'll come back with a piece of paper towel, just make sure there's no scales on it. And then you want to make sure that there aren't any bones.